أعوذ بالله من الشياطين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشياطين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My name is Fatiha Sharia. This is in association with Dr. Tutor. Dr. Tutor is my educational platform where I tutor mathematics. With mathematics, we also do reading and writing. We can get into chemistry. We can get into physics. I tutor elementary to undergraduate students. Again, as a parent, in these times right here, 2024, these are biblical times. We talk about prophecy. And I say biblical times, what I mean is that when you read the Bible and you become a student of what God is saying to us with the Bible, the prophecies in the Bible are so pronounced and defined, where the Bible is just, I think in the book of John, it says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word dwelt among men and became flesh. And so when you just look at the madness of the world, it's in the Bible. So as black people, again, we're talking about Black America. And Black America, in the language of the Bible, is the nation of Judah. And God says in the Bible that it is the Black American, or the nation of Judah, that is the lawgiver. So as the lawgiver for guidance across the planet, as black people, correct guidance, the defining of Bible prophecy, the defining of Bible prophecy needs correct guidance, and that is Black America, the nation of Judah, But with a 400-year history of chattel slavery, the black American has no type intelligence. Again, Deuteronomy 28 verse 48 says that we are destroyed. So we are destroyed. And with our destruction, God raises up messengers. We're specifically, again, talking about the nation of Judah. And it is from the nation of Judah, black Americans, where correct guidance will originate to guide the black people of the planet in this madness, planetary madness from the devil. But it starts with the nation of Judah, black Americans. So a nation within a nation, originating correct guidance, God raises up messengers. So to become educated as a parent, again, we're older, but young children. And, you know, it's prophecies in the Bible that says that the children of women will be monsters. Right now, that prophecy has come to pass, meaning that that's happening now. And so, but it's a continual progression from ignorance into what God is saying. So now, after having been destroyed, coming from 2000 up into 2024, it's very obvious the devil, yet you still have young children. And are you really going to let your child, if you are a parent and you really care about yourself and your future, we don't have to get into, it's very important to build generational wealth where we're 300 and 400 years from 2024 and the steps you have taken to educate and discipline your child, for your child to educate and discipline their children, your grandchildren, for your grandchildren, from your discipline of your child, for your grandchildren to educate and discipline their children 200 and 300 years from now. That's very realistic. Very realistic. So as a parent, to be concerned about what your child is learning. Math analysis. Math analysis. You can get that right here, Dr. Tutor. Right here, Dr. Tutor. My contact information is researchpublishingmedia at gmail.com. My information again is researchpublishingmedia at gmail.com. researchpublishingmedia at gmail.com. This is actually very good. We're giving subscriptions. 1 year, $15. I might take it up to $25 depending on how I feel. But it's going to be reasonable. This is strictly for, I'm not going to, poverty. If we just poor. Really, we are in poverty because we don't necessarily understand the value of our dollar, right? So we'll buy $300 sneakers because we think we need that type of luxury. but we don't understand that we do have $15, we have $25 to pay for your child's education. But the subscription for 1 year, my contact information, I hate to make it so business-like, because as a believer in God, I mean, we're all family. Me talking to you is like me talking to myself, right? But I would charge myself, like I would charge myself $25 for a 1 year subscription, and I would do it like in some type of charity. So, you know, but again, contact information with Zoom available. Zoom available. You PayPal me $25, right? Your child will have access to what I got going on. References, books, knowledge, what God is saying. I can give them counseling. I can give her counseling. What direction does she want to, or he, what direction does she or he want to go in as a parent? Correct guidance. What do you actually want to do with your child? Right? We're in a time period of nation building. Nation building. And I think that's real powerful how God just put that on my mind, because when we talk about Moses, yo, and one of the first things Moses did when he was getting organized, when they had just left Egypt, well, I don't know if it was when they had just left, but after they had left Egypt and they had got to a point, they started building something called the mercy seat. And I think the mercy seat was made out of gold, and it had like two cherubims. A cherubim is just a Muslim, but they had these cherubims with wings. So you talking about two black men and so on some type of throne seat, right? But the cherubim was way bigger than this. It was probably something like this, right? But that black man with them wings, them angel wings, right? So like this is really what time it is. So that's Dr. Tutor, Zoom available. That's for like a parent that's concerned about their child's education. You have to be very concerned about what you're sending the public schools is no good. Now I will say this. Now it's commercial though, but if you in like a black neighborhood, and I don't want to stereotype, but they say like a violent black poor neighborhood, those schools are actually the better schools. We don't necessarily know what they're doing as far as like how are they trying to get Caucasian students into them type of schools, because those schools are going to have black teachers, and it's really black teachers. Yeah, we have a history of chattel slavery, and we don't have the resources to compete with Caucasian America. But in all of that, even in our, well, you know, we are Christians. We're not necessarily Muslims or believers in God as far as antiquity. We're still the better teacher. And so I think that's when you have the creating of violence. Like you have, again now, it's one thing where as young people, we're dealing with a whisperer. And so we don't know how to really, your parents can't explain that to you. We don't even really talk about it. As far as like, we talk about it sometimes maybe behind the veil, but that's not no good if you're a young child. A young child doesn't have no idea what behind the veil is unless you raise that child up in that type of environment. And that's just plantation slavery. Like if you're raising your child in a behind the veil environment, that's plantation slavery. And that's horrifying. So that's on one level, right? Where as young children, and then we're black men specifically, but we're black men and black women. So if you got a whisperer, and God already tell us, we seek refuge and God from the slinking devil who whispers. So, as a young person dealing with emotions and then dealing with the fact that we're physically inferior, we're intelligently inferior, then that leads to a lot of violence because we're just young. We don't really know how to, we have to protect ourselves. So that's just on one level, and that's just a correct understanding of who God is. But then when you have the government of America with their hand involved in the destruction of these black educational centers, we're talking about public schools and what you would call a dominant black neighborhood that they didn't put in poverty. So be concerned, right, about your child's education, your children's education. You have a group of young people that you want to see advance. Always understand now, always understand the severity. Now, when you talk about the stock market, you had wars. You had this commercial, World War I, World War II. So you have Caucasian people in large numbers involved in these wars. At the same time, I don't know which war it was, but you had what they call the Jewish Holocaust. Well, I think maybe 4 or 5 million Jews were killed. But understand now, the whole time that this was going on, Caucasian Jewish people specifically were making billions of dollars on the stock market. Always understand that. They were making billions of dollars. I mean, it's not funny. It's funny in that, so on one level, you got Caucasian people, Christianity, they're running around, they're joining the military, getting killed. You might got some Caucasian people that didn't join the American government to fight in them wars. No, they on the stock market, brothers and sisters, making billions of dollars, while these Caucasian people was just running around crazy. I say that because we have to steadfast in our belief in God, and patience. The Arabic for patience is sabara. This is a strong S, sa. This is a big ba, ra, sabara. Sabara means patience. We have to be patient, and we have to do what God says. Nothing needs to change, only in that if you're not doing what God says, you need to change and start doing what God says. I say that because as the wars and rumors of wars pick up, it's going to get more crazy. So you want to be steadfast and focus on your progression. We're still going to progress. It's the devil that's being removed from the planet, but righteous black people are going to progress. So really you have to start learning the law of God. God says in these times right here that Judah, black Americans, are the lawgiver. So one of the ways you can know that you're on a correct path is that if you start giving the law of God, but you don't know no laws of God, you're not living no laws of God, so then you know you're not on the correct path. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, this is when I was concerned, it's still talking about the stock market. I asked the computer one time, and I was concerned about the war they were fighting. But they still fighting that war. This has nothing to do with Russia now. I don't know why they keep messing with this. I don't know why they keep messing with Vladimir, but Vladimir is going to let them know. And I think Vladimir is going to drop that bomb. And when Vladimir drops that, like, why would you mess with that brother? Why would you mess with him? You already see him. The history of Russia. We're not talking about Gorbachev. I think one of the ones, they fell off with a couple of leaders that got them to this point where they are now. And it was President Putin that's kind of like, I'm not gonna say he's a like what's the president's name? Like, they had a couple presidents that really got what they called then the USSR, got them in line to be like a world power. I'm not gonna say President Putin. Those were just different times, right? We're like just like a speedboat. We on a speedboat with champagne type of times. But President Putin got his motorcycle on that speedboat. So that's what, and they and it's like, it's really no comparison. And so, no, he's going to drop that bomb. And I also seen that the ICC just put out arrest warrants for Prime Minister of Israel. He calls himself Netanyahu. It's him and one other person. I don't know. Well, you know, from what little I did see, it wasn't no UN proclamation, and I think this is the international what they be getting all the black men in, but I think they got him up in there, and he likes to travel, so we're gonna see how serious that is. But this right here is a distraction. He's nothing really. That situation with Palestine, that's really not. I mean, I don't mean to take away from the horror of what these Palestinians are going through, but let's correctly understand. Even if Israel takes their foot off of Palestine, right? That's still a black man, black woman problem, because that's black people land. So we don't really know, because they are Muslim, right? But being Muslim and being black and Muslim, that's not the same situation. And a lot of times you have Muslims that are not African in quotations, where it's discrimination. If I go to, I go to Palestine right now, are they going to discriminate me are they going to discriminate against me because I'm a black Muslim? Well, probably not, because they got somebody that's on their ass, right? But you take the heat away from them, and am I a nigga, right? Praying to God with them, like how they see me, you know? So that's still, it's just a lot of things that have to be corrected on the planet. And that's where you have Judah as the lawgiver. But how can you be a lawgiver if you don't know the law? So this ICC arrest warrant for Prime Minister Netanyahu and someone else, that's just a distraction from what President Putin is about to do. And understand now, America done messed up. I wanted to cuss, but I also wanted to watch my profanity. I wanted to use a profanity there so you can really understand. Understand now, Muslims, unless the whole European continent becomes Muslim, Muslims cannot really compete with America. We talking about like I remember Brother Malcolm said, when they bring their submarine, we bring our submarine. They bring their fighter jets, we bring our fighter jets. There's really no Muslims. Muslims not even into that, first of all. But if you do have Muslims, like if you talk about Turkey, well, Turkey is with NATO, so I don't know about that, right? But you talking about dollar for dollar. You don't really have no Muslim countries. Now you have Muslim finance, but no, they ain't got no production. So it's going to be Europe that's going to destroy America. This is already known. It's going to be Europe. They still have a negative. They have a history of hatred towards each other. They only bring the flag out, brothers and sisters, when it's me and you standing there. But it's going to be Europe to drop the bomb on America, to get rid of the devil, but to get black people to wake up, right? So, okay. But understand that. It's going to be Europe to attack America. God against, say, the wicked are created for the day of evil. Wicked are created for the day of evil. I don't even know where they found this brother President, President Zelensky. I have no idea where they found him at. It's like they met at a bar or something, and they said, well, look, you the president. So that's all of that. The IC, now that's good to get that devil in jail, to get him incarcerated, but you're not really saying nothing when you do that. Right? Him being in prison for life, he in prison now for life. You know how horrible it is? You know how horrible his life is? To be the prime minister of Israel? He's the prime minister of Israel. Everybody on the planet hate that country. Everybody on the planet hates that country. But he the prime minister. So he's already in jail. So that's not really saying nothing. That's just to take away from what President Putin is about to do. And brothers and sisters, even if they talk about, let's look at it now. Even if they talk about peace, right, they're going to do a peace treaty, ceasefire, and all of that. Now Hamas, and Hezbollah, and the brothers in Yemen, they might cease fire. Hezbollah, they might cease fire, and they might be at peace. But no, these people right here, the Europe and America, no, they're not gonna never be at peace, never. So it's not gonna be no peace. So that just goes back to the fact that, listen now, Russia has been fighting NATO for like the past 2 years. A lot of Caucasian people have been killed. A lot of Caucasian people are being killed right now in that war. And they turn around and defeat, and they gonna attack that brother country? No, you could just look at President Biden. President Biden, listen. First of all, they done gave this dude, he done got his butt kicked the last 2 years now. A lot of Caucasian soldiers have been killed. And if you could just look at President Biden, they gonna give this dude some missiles to shoot Russia? but they not committed. They not gonna send no soldiers. You go out in American society, ain't no soldiers nowhere talking about they about to go to the Ukraine. That's not about to happen. They then gave this dude some missiles, so that don't even make no sense. So like, why would you even do that? Like, why? Like, you see what I'm saying? And then you talking about President Trump. You know, again, that's not my business. And again, these are some people's business, is what we have to understand. But I don't see Trump as one to get killed. I think I just don't see. I think President Trump understands that he can live what he would call a good life until he die. So I don't see President Trump as now again, the presidency is just a centerpiece for people that run the country. But no. So again, I asked the computer one time, in times of war, what about the stock market? Computer said that in times of war, like World War I and World War II, the stock market drops initially for like a couple weeks, a couple months, and then after it drops initially, it picks back up and goes higher than what it was in the history of the stock market. Now he didn't say necessarily. The computer didn't say in it, but that's the environment. Now the computer did say it go up where it set records for how high it then went. I'm gonna tell it to you one more time. As the chaos, the madness of devil America increases from the prophecies in the Bible, you have to prepare yourself as the lawgiver. You're not going to be out here entertainment, sports. You just a Democrat, Republican. You just voted. You just going to work. You just getting a college education. No, you have to be the lawgiver. In the last days, Judah is the lawgiver. If you are not the lawgiver, if you're not taking steps, if you're not building your house for a temple to make prayer, then you're going to get caught up in the madness. But to be steadfast. When the war broke out, when these wars broke out, the stock market initially dropped. But as the war continued, the stock market went up higher. With specifically Jews, Caucasian Jews, made billions of dollars. They followed the law of Moses, a black man. So Dr. Tutor, we also involved in undergraduate students. It's the same type of understanding. As a young person in undergraduate college, you're about to make decisions. Brothers and sisters, if you're in undergraduate school, just finances. Get your education and get your finances together. Don't be no slave to no corporation unless you like, if that's what you want to do. If you're a computer programming, I'm not going to say you're getting an employment at Google. Yeah, to start your own computer programming business, it's a lot of work. So it's fun, but it's just a lot of work. You might not want to do that. Get a job, make 60,000 a year, if that's realistic. Right? To hear people talk, you probably be making 100,000. But, to work, if you like computer programming, be a slave to the corporation. There's nothing wrong with that. That's as long as you believe in God and you can give that law. That's enough money where your wife don't have to work, your children will be okay, educate. Okay, so that's undergraduate. Or you can start your own business. There's money out here for that. They dropped them bombs. Them banks got, what they call it, steel vaults. Them bombs ain't gonna blow up that money in that vault. It's gonna be madness and chaos. Ah! But then after all that calm down, if your computer's still working, after they gonna hook the cables and everything back up, Bank of America, business credit card, we give you a $100,000 loan. What's your credit score? Right? So you got to understand all of that. You got to understand all of that. These people is making finance, and they going to keep making finance. And you can be crazy in your mind thinking your world going to end. Yeah, your world going to end if you ain't the lawgiver. So that's Dr. Tutor. Dr. Tutor with Zoom available. Zoom available. Again, we stress math analysis. Math so difficult. It makes life easy. Math analysis, math so difficult. It makes life easy. Ha! Math analysis is that thing. Oh, that thing is nice. Okay. So, with math analysis, I'm going to try to talk about the Taylor series. We have something in math called the Taylor series. I think Taylor is the name of a Caucasian mathematician. Again, we probably talking about late 1700s, early 1800s. We had a lot of mathematicians that came about at this time. Again, they found when they was in when they was in Egypt, and they found like a couple of papyrus. I think it's called the Rhine papyrus. This was actually the Rhine. I just found this out. When they start giving you Caucasian mathematicians and like the 300K, remember K is BC, AK is AD. So when you had these mathematicians like Euclid and Pythagoras, right? Whenever you start looking at the history of math, they go back to this time period right here, 300K, and they're going to give you these Caucasians. But these Caucasians were taught by black mathematicians and what they call Kemet. Now, when we say that, we're not going back to like the 1800s, but the Rhine papyrus was written by a black man, right? And I can't think his name. Oh, let's go to the computer right quick. Let's see if the computer tell us who wrote the Rhine papyrus. Cause I had never known that this brother's is a black man who wrote the Rhine papyrus. Papyrus. Okay, now look at this. Look at this. Yeah. Okay. Now look at this, right? I don't even know, brothers and sisters. Again, we talk about the hustle. The hustle. And I thank you, Almighty Allah, because we talk about the Bible, what the Bible called Jacob's ladder. Right? So the brother Jacob said he seen a ladder that went from the planet into heaven. God says that our sustenance sustenance is in heaven. So they said that the rind papyrus, rind, where did I spell it? I think I spelled it incorrectly, right? I spelled rind, it's rind. No, it's not even with an E. It's called rind. I also spelled halal wrong. I spelled it with an H. It's actually with an L. It's halal. But the rind papyrus, look at who they tell you wrote. Look at who they tell you wrote it now. I told you, they say we done, right? The Negro up from slavery. You also had a Caucasian too now. Caucasian. And Caucasian people, specifically in America, they addicted to that fentanyl, right? And you know, Caucasian people, because they had the black codes where it was against the law to look a Caucasian in their face. Because of those codes, today, as black people in the everyday society, we don't really be looking at Caucasian people, but we be seeing us as black people. And a black woman fine, especially if she putting on lotion, shea butter and all of that. Oh, she beautiful. So you up in her face, right? So while you up in her face, subconsciously, them black code laws, you see the Caucasian, everyday society, Bob and John and Wilson and all of them, you work with them every day, but you ain't really in their face looking at them. But if you actually look at them, they behind the scenes addicted to fentanyl at every level. But it's a Caucasian America. The country is built on Caucasian people as drug abusers. So you would never know. But you and me ain't built this. So you come out on fentanyl, oh, he on fentanyl. Black man, you getting arrested. But look at what the computers say now. We thank you Almighty Allah for this. So we got the brother named Moses. And once again, Nation of Islam, NOI, Nation of Islam, Judah, the lawgiver, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, no one else, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Farad Muhammad came in 1930, born in 1877. I want to say it was 1877. This brother came, taught Elijah Muhammad, gave him that word, Zechariah 12. Will give the nation of Judah a special word. So when he come amongst his brothers in his destroyed state, he can defend himself. But let's listen to what the computer says. The rind mathematical papyrus, one of the most significant ancient Egyptian mathematical texts, was written by a scribe named Akhmos around 1550 AK. So this is right here, that's around that 1800 AK. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that Moses went into the caves and hillsides of Europe and he took tricknology with him. Tricknology. We've come to understand that tricknology is just math analysis. Right? And it's Moses or Akhmos. And you talking about 1800s with so Akhmos might have been Judah. Judah and planetary history is Black Americans. That's present day Black Americans. 2024. But if you're talking about, well, it's not really, it's really, well, it's iniquity. But it also can be antiquity if you include these last 4,000 years within our 1 million year history coming forward to 2024, if you include the last 4,000 years until like the last, is that a millennium? It might be a millennium, but the last 1 million years, then it would be iniquity. It's just a newer, it's a closer iniquity to 2024. So we're known as Phoenicians. Phoenicians. Black Americans are Phoenicians. These are the people that went up. Like when you start looking at Greek history, every city that was founded in that European area where these people, Caucasian people in the caves and hillsides of Europe, when they were calling these black people God, that's what Phoenicians. But it's so if, and then look now, this is where the spookism for me comes in. Because you had pharaohs that were named Akhmos. But here they say Akhmos is a scribe. So how can Akhmos as a scribe take on a name, but you got not pharaohs, you got kings of Kemet that were named Akhmos. Not only were they named Akhmos, but they got numbers like Akhmos the first, Akhmos the second. So these are some serious brothers. And it was one of these Akhmos that gave birth to Solomon. One of these Akhmos is King David. I believe one of these Akhmos is King David. But Akhmos could also be one of the sons of these kings. But I just find that kind of strange. Even when you talk about like the conscious community, we're in a including myself, but we are Black Americans, we're African Americans, we're Muslim, but we're also conscious as a community. So within that environment, okay. But look now, they say that the rhyme papyrus was written by a brother named Akhmos. He was a scribe. So already that's Ezra, right? Some type of older version of Ezra. And look at what they say. They even got a quote from this brother. He say that, look, this is what the computers say now, right? Akhmos said the papyrus is a thorough study. We thank you, Almighty Allah, for this. A thorough study of all things. And this is what Akhmos is. This is what this brother is telling me. It's me and listen what I'm trying to tell you, brothers. You go to YouTube right now. You can get any one of our scholars to give you some real good, some intelligent insight on how to live your life. So look, on the same level, Akhmos on YouTube. What? What is you talking about? This is like 4,000 years ago. Listen to what this brother telling me and you. The papyrus is a thorough study of all things, insight into all that exists, knowledge of all obscure secrets. I don't know. They might have made that up. But that's what the brothers say though, right? So it's with the Rhine papyrus, and it's the Rhine papyrus, and then there's something else, the Rosetta Stone. They found all of these things, brothers and sisters, around the 1800s. So I think it was the Rosetta Stone that let the Caucasian understand some of the mathematics with the Rhine papyrus. So with all of that, you have these Caucasian mathematicians. Caucasian mathematicians. So then they say that, you know, these Caucasian mathematicians, early 1800s, started coming out with theory, and this is how they define mathematics now in 2024, unless you go back in history with math. And I just seen, let me tell you this one. So you know, we got this one brother. His name is Professor. I think his first name is David. I don't know his first name, but I know Professor James. He from the Nation of Levi. I want to say he a good brother. I don't know him personally, but I'm just saying, like, and looking at him and how he do his thing, he seemed like he a very good brother. And he got something called VAJ Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know how to spell Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu. Where he takes Jiu-Jitsu. We had a Filipino brother come to America. He went to New York. This brother right here, David James, Professor David James, he's located in Brooklyn, New York. Big shout out to Brooklyn, New York. But Professor David James, we had this brother from the Philippines come to New York, and he started teaching black men and black women, but black men specifically jiu-jitsu, black men jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu. And we also have another brother. He's in Chicago. He's in the Nation of Islam under the leadership of Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I first heard about Professor, I don't know, they call him Professor V. I only stutter because I'm not qualified to call him Professor V. I don't know his real name. I think his name is Vernacio. I can't pronounce it, but they call him Professor V. We have a brother that teaches martial arts or self-defense in the Nation of Islam. And he's located in Chicago. So he was taught under Professor V also. So I know these two brothers know each other. These brothers were in New York learning under this brother right here from the Philippines. Okay, but anyway, we have Professor David James. This brother right here is actually very good. Professor David James. When I give references, so when I give this reference right here about how good this brother is to your life, he's in the same category as Dr. Watkins. Dr. Watkins. Understand, Dr. Watkins is a financial advisor. You need a financial advisor. You're poor because the devil wants you to be poor, right? So if you break your arm, you go to a doctor, a medical doctor. So if you're financially broke, you go to a financial doctor. So this brother right here, Professor James, they on the same level as far as the intelligence. He teaches self-defense, very good, on YouTube. Why do I say that? I say that because in studying, I'm not going to say I study under him. I actually would like to go and live. I'm getting older. I will say this, if you have children, like, you know, New York, when it's cold, right, it's not good because it's just, I don't like cold weather. But during the summertime, you should actually send your child. I don't know how you would do it. Like if you have money and you could just move to New York for like the summer and just let your child learn with this brother. Actually, I wanted to move to New York and just study what this is how important this brother is, just to learn what he's teaching, the discipline. It's discipline. Like what's really good, math analysis is what's really good. The stock market is what's really good. going to Egypt and learning the hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics, I'm probably not spelling that correctly. It's what's really good. Muslim. It's what's really good. The feast, the Eid, the Eid Adha, I'm not pronouncing that correctly. The Eid of Ramadan and the pilgrimage, that's what's really good. Cheesecake is what's really good. A cheese pizza with extra cheese and extra onions is what's really good. So what's really good is this brother right here, Professor David James, and he's on YouTube, and just, yo, he got some real nice self-defense to defend yourself. Things that, you need to incorporate into your life for progression. But again, this is why I say that. So, and learning self-defense, I was always learning. God has showed me initially. I had initially wanted. Okay. So I needed some money real fast, right? Money real fast, because I was getting older, and I had just left graduate school, so I had no money, right? So I was like, I could box, because I had a little bit of skills. I was looking at my arm length, even though I'm taller, right? So I was like, maybe I could box. God has showed me an insight into how I could win the championship belt, right? It was just an idea, right? So it was with that mindset that I just started, I ain't gonna say training, but I just started learning like basic maneuvers, like how to punch, how to kick, right? Then God showed me, instead of I couldn't afford a punching bag, so God said, just use the tree. So I started using the tree, and it was from the tree where I developed the discipline. And then what else is what's really good? They got something on YouTube called, I think it's called the Wu-Tang Martial Arts. This is on YouTube. This is a YouTube channel, Wu-Tang Martial Arts. Yo, they showing nothing but Chinese karate movies. That's what's really good. Like, yo, that thing is off the chain. All that thing, like, it's phenomenal. God just be blessing us with all types of things to keep our mind active. So I started learning from a tree a certain type of martial arts discipline. And then when you start watching these movies, right, when you talk about the Shaolin Temple, right, you start looking at the history of martial arts, these movies are phenomenal. What happened, brothers and sisters, was when you had the Chinese Renaissance, after General Mao, after President Mao cleaned up their country, and then you talking about the progression of Chinese people as a single country. Well, part of that development to where now you are a global power, a planetary power, is culture, right? So they were making these movies. Making movies is just technology, cameras, and developing all that technology. So they had a culture. So they was coming out with all these movies, right? Probably in the 60s and the 70s, right? And that's the Chinese culture to get them. That's part of, like, it's politics, right? You got to learn politics. It's military, right? You got to learn military. It's you know, they got these different departments, but also it's culture. So as they were developing their military, as they were developing their politics, they were also developing their culture, and they were just coming out with these movies. And these movies are on the YouTube, Wu-Tang. Oh, that's what's really good, brothers and sisters. But anyway, when you start watching these movies, they give you the Shaolin Temple. Shaolin Temple had all these martial arts that you could learn, these discipline, martial arts, the discipline. So they will have something called the monkey fist, the eagle's claw. They just got whatever you want, dragon. Right? They got all type of different types of style. It's not just animals, but those are just, as children, we gravitate towards that. But that's Shaolin Temple. So look at this now. Let's understand. We do know that when you go to Kemet, them hieroglyphics on the walls and the tombs, they're going to show you how the brothers were doing different martial arts, the different throwing. They got like throwing positions and striking positions. And all of these are hieroglyphics on the walls in the tombs in Kemet. So we already know that. So, and then look now, you can read Cometian hieroglyphics from top to bottom. Like you can read it from right to left, but you can read it from top to bottom. So you read Chinese initially, I believe, from top to bottom. So that's just to make the connection. Then you have the Shang dynasty that goes back to the 18th. So that's Africa, or what? That's East Asia, to be more correct. But let's understand, brothers and sisters, what's going on. So I asked the computer, because I'm looking at the hieroglyphs in Kemet, when they got the brothers on the walls and the tombs doing the different maneuvers. They got the one brother where he on the throne them. Then he got the one brother where he pinned them. So they got these on the walls and the tombs in Kemet. So I already knew that connection, right? So I was like, what's the history of Shaolin Temple? Guess what the computer say? You ain't gonna believe, unless you already know. The computer say that brothers from India, I think you want to say the Buddhists. The brother name is Siddhartha Gautama. Buddhists from India brought the Shaolin Temple martial arts up into China. Let me tell you that one more time, so we understand how we continually be. If you don't know who Jesus is, then you can always be hustled by Mr. Walgreens, because Mr. Walgreens knows who Jesus is. The Shaolin Temple originated from Buddhist monks from India. So I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters, the computers say that during times of war, we talking about when it's actually World War III, the stock market goes down initially, but then it goes up to new heights, record heights. So as the Chinese, right, remember during COVID, had the black man, black woman on the streets of China. We talking about I ain't gonna say we boycotting, but we just getting upset the Chinese races. And then I've even had I think that's a reality that they do hate black people. But things that you never heard of. In this Chinese reality that I hate niggas, that we niggas as black Americans specifically, and all of this Chinese, what would you call it? Nationalism? I'm gonna call it nationalism. Now we're not saying that the Chinese that are Buddhists, that alone should let us know what's going on if they Buddhists, right? But you get confused because you're talking about Buddhists and religion. So that's Jesus, right? So that's going to be the Caucasian John Hawkins and the Thayaba. So you'll get confused with that. But in the height of the Chinese, we should understand this. Chinese nationalism, well, we supposed to be niggas, black Americans. the founder of their nationalism, as far as defense, he from India. Talking about the Shaolin Temple. So if you talking about, I don't even know what year that is, but if he Indian and he founded the Shaolin Temple, you can only imagine how black he is, how dark he is. I found that to be, like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad say, he say history, the history of the planet will reward our research. That is so true. That is so phenomenal. Okay. Okay. So that's why I say the brother, Professor David James, he's on YouTube, he's very good. Self-defense, street self-defense, street self-defense. He's what's really good. Okay. Okay. So we have the Taylor series. I want to get to this. Taylor series. We have a Caucasian mathematician, I think the 1800s, came out with this Taylor series. Series, again, brothers and sisters, is just you have a sequence of numbers, 2, 3. This is an infinite sequence because we have 1, 2, 3 with the 3 dots. That means it's infinity. Then you have a finite sequence, 1, 2, 3 to n. N is a verb, like we don't know where we want it to end. We can choose what n equals to. Say n equals 15. So this is a sequence that goes to 15. But say you have a sequence, a finite sequence of 1, 2, 3. This is a sequence. We use the curly brackets to show sequence. Now, if we add each one of the elements, we call each one of these numbers in this curly bracket sequence or element. If we add each one of the elements, this is called a series. So it's just a sequence. But if you add the elements or the numbers in the sequence, if you add them, then it becomes a series. That's very basic, but you should remember that. That's a good foundation for you to understand. So we want to look at that, the Taylor series. It's actually very good because, again, we're dealing with infinity. So when you have a series of infinite numbers, right, do the numbers converge? Okay. Okay. But once again, brothers and sisters, I got some good for you. Let's see. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. Okay. So, let's see how I want to do this. Do we want to talk about the stock market a little bit? The stock market is Bitcoin is Bitcoin is off the chain, brothers and sisters. It went from 72,000 to 98,000. If you don't have no Bitcoin, this is what's going to happen with Bitcoin. It's going to come a point, they did a halving. All of this was already predicted. right? They did a halving a couple months ago. It just took a little bit of time, but that again, they already knew that was going to take some time because what happens is that they're making Bitcoin rare. Well, pretty soon you're not going to be able to buy no more Bitcoin. So I don't know how that's going to work. Well, how it's going to work is that if you can't buy no more Bitcoin, the price of it is going to go off the chain. So then either I'll sell you my Bitcoin or I won't sell it. But somehow they're going to make it some type of currency where just the people that own Bitcoin can do business with themselves. But you're talking about billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin compared to, I own $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. So it's still going to be capitalism. Big bank take little bank. He got $1 billion. I got $10, right? I can buy me a bag of potato chips. He can buy him a potato chip factory. But we doing all that in Bitcoin. And then as we further progress, we're going to find God is going to show us like the benefits of Bitcoin compared to paper currency. Like it's probably going to be cheaper to produce. It's going to be less wasteful. Same thing with artificial intelligence. Remember God told us that it's like that rock, right? That water trying to bust out that rock. So it's finding different places to penetrate. And don't nobody know where it's going to penetrate, but then it's busts out. So then everybody say, okay, it's coming right here. That's where the money is. And then everybody start making money. So that's what Bitcoin is. Like right now, people don't really know why you should invest in Bitcoin, only that the price is going up. But it's a whole lot more to it than that. But we just don't know what it is. But again, I say that we're still talking about the stock market. Bitcoin is going to go way up eventually over time. It's actually going to go up to probably 150 in the next couple of months, only because it's becoming rare. And as more people understand that there's something right now that costs $98,000. It was at $25,000 last summer. When people start finding out that it's going to come a point in time where they can't get no more of this, they're going to go crazy and start buying. Now, what I say is this now. You still got to be cautious of when you actually purchase Bitcoin. It's already high, but it's high. It's way high compared to 25,000, right? We ain't got to go way back, but we that's just last year. But understand now, they had a halving. They're not going to have no more halvings. I don't think they're going to have no more halvings. So it's not going to be no more Bitcoin. So once people realize, I'm talking about the masses of the people, realize that they can't get no more Bitcoin, this price right here is going to go phenomenal. And then you're going to have to pay a crazy $200,000 for a Bitcoin to get in, or you ain't going to get no Bitcoin, which is not bad. But I'm just saying, it's a good investment. Only thing I say, and this is why I say that, right? Why you should buy it, because as it goes up, and right now it's very what they call volatile. Most investors, if you're talking about like old school investors, most old school investors don't really mess with Bitcoin initially because it ain't really got no value. The only value of Bitcoin is that somebody else is going to buy it to make it go up. That's the only value. Again, it's like a Bitcoin is a community of poor people initially that are coming together to pay bills, put some money in their pocket against like big corporations. So you talking about November the 4th, Bitcoin was at what was it at? 72,000. It was just really at 53,000. Then with the height of the presidential elections, it went up because really President Trump was talking about he liked Bitcoin. So I say that, then look now, it's not black people, it's Caucasian people. So say I got $100, I'm gonna flip on Bitcoin as a black person. Well, that $100 to me is like $5,000 or $6,000 to a Caucasian. If you talking about like the Caucasian, we talking about even poor Caucasian people. They'll flip a credit card with 30% interest. So the Caucasian social living expense, they'll put $5,000 on Bitcoin. I might put $100 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin go up $30,000, which it just did. Right? So you talking about that's probably like a 30% increase. Or what was that, 60? No, that's a 50%. If it went up 30, yeah, that's 50%. So that's $10,000. But realistically, you talking about, they gambling. Caucasian people gamble, brothers and sisters. So they didn't put 50,000 from a bank loan just for that one time to do Bitcoin. So that's what Bitcoin is really for. You even got big corporations that get involved. They actually buy the entire coin. So they might buy 1,000 Bitcoins and flip their money. I mean, everybody get in, brother and sister. If you poor and you gonna be dumb and buy some $300 Jordans, then we gonna get that $300 from you for some sneakers that cost $10. So big corporations get in on it also and make money. Okay, so what I got on the stock market too, because as I continue to perfect my craft, what do I want to say? I think I had some stocks that I wanted everyone to take a look at. You should take a look at BTCS. I haven't come out with a final report. BTCS, I like it because they're profitable. A lot of Bitcoin mining companies, they mine Bitcoin or they hustle Bitcoin. I don't exactly know what that means. But they mine Bitcoin, so whatever that means. But they were at $1.80. I brought 5 shares. It went up to $3.50. So I was kind of disgusted, right? But it's at $4 now. It might drop back down, right? So always understand that it might drop back down to like 90 cents. So you should watch how you play it. But I'm going to go with it. BTCS. It's at $4 now. So what happens is that it was at $1.80. I'm comparing it to like how pharmaceutical companies or therapeutic biotechnology companies, biotechnology companies, they're not really dependable as far as like you might have one that costs $1. It'll go up to $4. Right, you think it's gonna stay there and keep going up? No, it'll go right back down to 80 cents. BTCS I'm still looking at it, but I don't think BTCS is like that. It was at 180. It went up to $4, and then it went back down to like $3, $2.99. I think it was at $2.99. So I was like, it might go back down to $1.80. I didn't really buy no more, but then it went back up to $4. So you still look at that. So you might want to buy 2 or 3 shares and just play it. But they're profitable. And Bitcoin is going to keep going up. Okay. And what else is good? I had a list of stocks. Now in my mind, I can't think of no stocks, right? We got SMCI. SMCI kind of rebounded. I feel it kind of, again, the stock market is a two-edged sword. I was sitting there looking at it at $17 and like 80 cents. It's at $29 right now. What I also want people to understand is this. When we were talking about Riot was at $6.29. It went up to $15. Just like that, because Bitcoin went from 53,000 to 72,000. Now, even though Bitcoin went up to 90,000, 98,000, Riot then dropped back down to like $12. What I want to say is this, brothers and sisters. My financial advisor always says, that it's very hard to, how does he say it? I think it's real time analysis or to purchase the stock at like its lowest point. If it's doing a dip, to purchase it right here. A lot of times we always purchasing it right here and it go down. He say that's damn near impossible to do. I say that because, like, in the world of illusion, okay, yeah, that's what it was. Let me give you this example right here. SMTC. I'm gonna give this a good example. I brought SMTC, they're a semiconductor. I brought them at $25. This was like last summer, 2023. I brought probably 10 shares. It went up to $27. I'll never forget too, right? This is when I had just started learning what was going on. So when you do pre-market, this is when I didn't know nothing about pre-market or nothing. I was just pressing buttons. It said $23. But if you get pre-market, they don't have as many stockbrokers as when the stock market opened up at 9:30. So at pre-market, because they have fewer stockbrokers that'll buy and sell you stock, sometimes the price will be higher than what the price really is, right? I remember at the time I was disgusted. But now, it's just learning, right? But it was at $23. I think I might have brought 10 shares at $25. I was like, damn, when I really found out, right? Because it went up to $27. So you talking about, what's that, $4 difference or a $2 difference? So I was kind of feeling a certain type of way, right? But it went up to $27, then it went down to $15. And I had it at $15 and started dollar cost averaging. This was the summer of 2023, the summer. So we're just going to say June. We're going to say August. Then the Caucasian said that, look what the Caucasian said, right? At the time, SMTC, it was being the president or the CEO, he was an Indian. I think it's a Caucasian company, like a Barack type situation. But the president was Indian. But the Caucasian said, this is what he said now. Now the graph for SMTC looked like this now. So right here was at like $100, right? But the Caucasian said, look, once they get rid of that, he wasn't racist or nothing, but he was, I don't know, but he said once they get rid of the president, the CEO, it's going to go back up in the hundreds. So it was at $15 for like a little bit of time, right? Oh, Oh, I don't think we got the vision clear no more. Hold on 1 second, brothers and sisters.